right, this video is actually a continuation of the first video where I showed how to make a histogram. So if you're like, well, I didn't watch that video, you don't really have to watch it, but to know where I'm getting this information from. So we talked about that this was the minutes it took a student to actually complete a test. And what I could do is find the mean. So I can do that in Excel with the average function and then find the mean of this data set. And I get 43.9. And then I also need the standard deviation of this data set. And I get like 6.8. Okay, so I'm gonna use those values so you know where they're coming from. All right, so here, let me get my actual slide, is I just went ahead and copied my chart here, okay, meaning in PowerPoint. And so from here I can kind of look, and it said the mean is 43.9. So if I drew this, you know, to kind of have that normal distribution shape, and the mean somewhere in here, 43.9, okay, so that's the mean we found, and then with a standard deviation of what, 6.8. All right, so based on this information, I can answer probability questions, and this is using the Z table, the normal Z table. I actually have another video that just shows how to read the Z table. Okay, you might want to watch that first. But what if I'm interested in what's the probability that a student, so that's my random variable, takes less than 40 minutes on the test? What you do is you find the Z-score, which is found by taking your data value minus the mean and divide by your standard deviation. So my X value is 40. I can see the mean is 43.9 and then divided by 6.8. So basically what we're doing, so I don't know, 40 would probably be somewhere about here. We're trying to find this area under the curve, and that's what you use for the table. So let me throw this in a calculator. So 40 minus 43.9 and then divided by 6.8, and I get a negative 0.57, and I rounded it to 2 decimal places because that's how you read the table, is 2 decimal places. This makes sense that it would be negative because if you remember the standard normal, we're standardizing our mean to 0. And so this Z value being negative 0.57 makes sense being negative because it's less than 0. All right, so now I go find a table, and I just went and grabbed one online. And in this table, I'm looking for the Z value of negative 0.57. So I know I'm on the negative side. I go straight down until I find negative 0.5. And then I go over to the right until I'm under 0.07, right? Because that would be the last decimal place. And so it looks like that value would be 0.2843. So 0.2843 would be this actual area under this curve. Get another color here. So 0.2843, which again, I always tell students, think about this logically. That makes sense because half of the data up to 0.5 is here, so it's got to be something less than 0.5. So therefore, this probability would be 0.2483, or about 28% of the students complete the test under 40 minutes. All right, let's say we have another one and we want to find the probability that they take more than the 50 minutes. All right, so now I'm over here somewhere, and I want to find the area to the right of it. So once again, I do my z, my x being 50 minus 43.9 divided by my standard deviation to find my z value. So I throw all that in a calculator and I get 0.89. So let me write this down so you can see what I'm going to do. 897. And so I want to round this to 2 decimal places, so I'm going to round it to that because that's more than 5, and then when I round up, my 0.89 goes to 0.90. So that's my z. Once again, if I standardize, which is what I did, my z is at 0.9, and that's the area that I want to find. So I go back to my table. This is on the positive side now, so I need to go down here to the positive, look for a z of 0.90, and I get 0.8159. So this area here being 0.8159. Hopefully you're screaming and going, no, it's not. Remember how you read the table. This is actually, let me get another color here. You read the table from all the way from the bottom, okay, so all the way from the bottom up to that z value. So that's actually this area. I don't want that area, I want this area. So to find it, I need to take 1 minus 0.8519, and I get 0. If I can find my pointer here, I get 0, and let's just write it right here, 0.1481. So it's important that you understand, and I normally just tell students if it's less than, just read the table. If it's greater than, always do 1 minus the value. All right, let's do one last example of between. So what if I have the probability, I want to know they take between 45 and 55 minutes. All right, so now I'm looking at, I don't know, 45, so that's even going to be to the right of the mean, which is not a big deal, and 55, so I'm looking for some area right here. So again, I'm going to standardize this with a mean of 0, and I need to find these z values, and I typically call that one z lower and that one z upper. Okay, to be able to get this area. And then once I do, that's upper is going to give me all that area. The lower is going to give me all that area. So I end up subtracting the 2 values. So my z lower would be 45 minus my mean, which is still 43.9, divided by still my standard deviation, which is what, 6.8. So I throw that in a calculator and I get 0.16. So 0.16 for my lower. And then my z upper is going to be 55 minus 43.9 divided by 6.8. And, and doing that one, let's bring my screen back. Doing that one in my calculator, so that's what, 55. I get 1.63. Make sure I got my pen back going here. There we go. I get, so on this one, I get, where's my, there I am, 1.63. So I have to look up both of these areas. So let's look up 1.63 first. 1.63 looks to be 0.9484. So hello. point, uh-oh, I think I lost my pen there when I go jump to that other table. So let's just use a different color. So this is going to be, where am I? Here I am. 0.9484 is this area. So 0.9484. Not writing very well there. And now I need to find the lower area. So at 0.16, 0.16, where am I at? 0.16, 0.5636. So 0.5636, making sure I got my ink going here. So 0.5, what did I say? I already forgot. 0.5636. So 0.5636, which is this area. And as I mentioned, to find the between, I take the upper area, 0.9484, and I subtract it from the lower area, and I get 0.3848. So about 38% of the students are taking between 45 and 55 minutes. All right, so if you're having any problems reading the z-table, you definitely want to watch my video first on just how to read the z-table, and then everything is just based off of standardizing your z-score.